Nothing but fun, sports, information, entertainment, you name it. We are laying down the law, and I am your host, Steven.
Forget your name?
Michael Foster. That's who I be. And sitting in here with me is my first producer, my main man, James Pledger. Pledge, you're going to be on in our fantasy football league again.
I know, first time since the first year.
Welcome back. I know you were beating everybody. They said, don't have him in on the league.
I know.
We split, I think.
I think it's Stefania's fault.
Well, we'll get a chance to talk to her.
Scared I was showing her up.
Yeah. You know what? I don't think too many people show her up, but I'm just saying.
I'm a beautiful man.
You may be, but I'm still saying. And listen, we also got to thank our outfitter, Big Frog Round Rock at A.W. Grimes and Gaddis School Road up in Round Rock. Also, Spira Footwear, man. I tell you, I feel 0.2 of a second faster, honestly, with the change in the We Network, Zija Moringa, my nutritional product. You can check that out at www.fosssports. Yeah, the three S's together, .myzija.com. And right now, without further ado, I want to bring in a very good friend of mine who, when I'm up in the DFW area, we get to chop it up. He really, listen, y'all need to follow him on Twitter for sure, because he has a lot going on here in Texas and beyond. But the Big 12 recruiting insider for ESPN.com and more, my friend, Damon Sayles. Damon, good morning and welcome back to Laying Down the Law.
Good morning. Happy Sunday to you guys.
Hey, man, appreciate it. We're sitting in here with my first producer down in San Antonio. Now on our side of the glass, Damon, James Pledger. And, hey, let's just get right to it. Mm-hmm. The Big 12, you know, you can't live in the past, but I can say this. If some folks that are administrators did things differently, Johnny Manziel would have been in the Big 12. Nebraska still would have been in the Big 12. Missouri still would have been in the Big 12. And it, to me, would have been the most dominant football conference, competing right up there and maybe surpassing the SEC. Now losing Missouri, Nebraska, and A&M. Again, it's still the Big 12, but it's not the Big 12. And, you know, your thoughts, man. You cover this day in and day out about that.
I think you hit the nail on the head. But, you know, when it comes down to it, anytime you have a guy like Johnny Manziel come through, not only a program but a conference, he's going to be a game changer for all. And, you know, we always make fun, well, not really make fun, but we always have fun with the A&M people. You know, they're excited about being in the SEC. But my question would have been, let's just say you guys stuck with the Big 12 for one more year.
Right. We came. You know what? You hit the mute button. So tell me, think about if we got the last bit of sticking with the Big 12 for one more year. Reiterate on that. I'm sorry.
Okay. Just saying that, you know, if they were there for one more year, just one more year, just imagine what they would have done in the Big 12. They probably would have played for a national championship, because I really feel like they would have went through the Big 12 pretty similarly to how they went through the SEC that year. They would have had an opportunity to play for a championship. It would have been great. But, you know, they're in a different conference. It is what it is, and everybody's happy, so be it. But, yeah, man, when you talk about just that – you know, just the phenomena that is, you know, Texas A&M and what Missouri did last year, and you know, it's crazy. It's crazy to think what would have happened. But I think the Big 12 is pretty excited about, you know, the future right now. They're excited about what's to come, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens in this upcoming year, because they've got a couple of big hitters.
We're talking with Damon Sayles, the Big 12 recruiting insider for ESPN.com. You can also see him, I believe, ESPN3 on Thursday evenings, or ESPNU?
ESPNU. ESPNU.
Apologies.
That's okay.
No worries. No worries. And James, you brought up a very interesting point. You know, the technicalities.
Are just, Johnny Manziel was a member of the Big 12 when he signed.
Yes.
This is true.
I'm a stickler for technicalities.
From a technical sense, this is true, yeah.
So,
but Damon, when you look at actually getting into the recruiting, and you look at next year's class in the Big 12, the Longhorns, 7 commits in the ESPN 300, and probably the biggest one, the most marquee name that is tied to that class is the quarterback handpicked from New Mexico, Zach Gentry, that Charlie Strong went out and got to commit, the 6'7" gunslinger.
Yeah, when you look at Zach just from the cuff, first and foremost, he passes every eyeball test on the planet. You know, he's legitimately 6'7", weighs about 235, probably going to get to around 245, 250. Physically, he reminds some of another quarterback who just got a job with UT. I don't know if people know who
that guy.
But,
yeah, heard of him.
But physically, he's built like him. Now, athletically, obviously, you know, it's really hard to compare anybody to Vince Young. But when you look at Zach, you know, he has an outstanding arm. He has very good IQ. The only question right now is, you know, he's playing against New Mexico competition, and as a lot of people know around the recruiting area, New Mexico football it's not Texas football, it's not California football, it's not Florida football, but this guy's a competitor, and he's an ESPN 300 guy for a reason. So I really feel like once he gets on campus and once he actually has a chance to just soak in the 40 acres and just you know, get the tutelage from Strong and his staff, I really think we're going to get a chance to see just how good this kid can be. I mean, you know, size-wise, he's outstanding. He has very good feet for a guy his size, and he's a lot quicker than what most people may assume. So he's going to be a guy who's going to challenge for that quarterback position early. Considering that David Ash will be gone, you'll have a guy like Gerard Hurd who's expected to come in and take the role. Ty Swoops will be in that role as well. But I really feel like Gentry's that type of player who can come in as a freshman and definitely compete for a starting job.
Damon Sayles, just to quickly elaborate a little bit further on the rest of UT's class, a couple of more ESPN 300s. They got safety Deshaun Elliott, couple of guys on the offensive line, Weatherby and they, and also just committed a week or two ago, John Burt, the wide receiver. Can you tell us a little bit more about the Longhorns recruiting class?
Yeah, when you look at that, first of all, when you look at what Strong has done, you know, there's so many people who want to say, well, he's not getting the big names, he's not doing this, he's not doing that. I'm counting 7 ESPN 300 commits, and of those 7, 2 of those are from out of state. So that's what a lot of people tend to forget. Charlie Strong is one of the better recruiters when it comes to getting guys away from his actual area, away from state. And he's a huge recruiter in Florida. John Burt's one of those kids who can come in and play immediately. He's 6'3", 180 pounds. You know, kid out of Tallahassee, Florida. He's a guy who can really be a playmaker for them in that system. And obviously, you're going to need some guys to block on that offensive line. Patrick Vahe, Toby Weathersby, you know, Vahe plays guard, Weathersby a tackle. Big guys, you know, both flirting around that 300-pound mark right now, and they're going to get bigger. So look for them to be about 320, 330 once they're really ready for game environment in Austin. And then, of course, that defense is what everybody's talking about. And a kid like Deshaun Elliott, he's only going to get better, and he's only going to become more and more of a playmaker. He's the number 5 safety in the country for a reason. Big kid, 6'2", about 200. He's up to about 210 pounds now. Pretty fast kid, and he loves to hit. And anytime you can get a safety who loves to hit, who brings all the intangibles, he's exciting. And he's going to be one of those kids. You know, he has that mentality, kind of like Quandre Diggs. You know, I'm going to be that dominating force, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. That's his attitude. And you need a guy like that on your team. But you also need that same guy to not only talk the talk, but walk the walk. And I think Elliott can be that player for them in a couple of years.
Absolutely. We're talking with Damon Sayles, Big 12 recruiting insider for ESPN.com. Tell us about some other teams in the Big 12, as much as I know that there's burnt orange abound. And to me, Oklahoma.
Baylor looks like they've got
I was gonna say, aren't they the defending Big 12 champions in Baylor up at Waco? And they have a tremendous stadium coming online too, Damon. We definitely need to get you a game in McLean Stadium right there to the east of I-35 as you move through Waco.
Oh, absolutely. McLean Stadium is beautiful. You know, for those in Dallas who make the trip southbound toward I-35. It's a pretty awesome sight the first time you ever get a chance to see it. You know, you're driving 35, and then all of a sudden you look to your left and you see this giant stadium just magically appear. It's literally like that. So it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. And I think Baylor, you know, they're going to go into this season. They're going to take that. They're going to use it to their advantage. And, you know, they're also going to use the fact that they did pretty well last year in Big 12 play. And, you know, they've got all their key components back. Bryce Petty's, you know, a Heisman hopeful already. This 2015 class is really, really interesting when you from a skill position standpoint. They've got right now 3 ESPN 300 kids. 2 of them are wide receivers, Devontae Strickland and Chad President. President can play some quarterback if needs. And then they've got a running back in Jermichael Hasty, who's lightning fast. He's about 5'8", 185 pounds. Kind of reminds me of a shorter version, of Lake Seastrunk. But, you know, speed-wise, he's right there. You know, this is a class that you really have to look out for. You mentioned Oklahoma. I mean, when you talk about Oklahoma, they're always in the mix. 10 commits right now. 5 of their 10 are ESPN 300s. Cornerback P.J. Bannister is their lead guy, kid from Pflugerville. I mean, when you look at these two teams, obviously they're two to watch. But I really think the program to really keep an eye out on is Texas Tech, and that's because, for one, this might be one of their best classes in 20 years, if not ever. And a lot of people are saying, could this be their best class? You know, they have the number 3 dual-threat quarterback committed in ESPN 300, Jared Stidham out of Stephenville. He was an Elite 11 player. And they've got defensive tackle Braden Fehoko out of Honolulu, Hawaii. You know, this is a guy who can come in right now and start for Kingsbury's defense. And then you've got offensive tackle Madison Akamnanu, 6'5", 275-pound offensive tackle who's probably going to get bigger, probably going to get to around 290, but he's long. You know, he has near 7-foot wingspan, and he's the guy who can really fit in that package. You know, they love that air raid offense in Lubbock, and he's one of those guys who can be that technical force and really be a positive impact for that offensive line.
We're talking with Damon Sayles from Big 12 Recruiting Insider and ESPN.com. Damon, we're going to ask if we could do a scheduling of you next week as well.
You got it, man.
Do it like that. Break it down a little more. We know that Kenny Hill's the starter at Texas A&M. As we get closer, would love to have your insight. And we also have Stefania Bell, also of ESPN, up next. And just can't thank you enough. Damon, though, before we let the listeners know we'll catch back with you next week, how can they follow you during the week? Because I've seen some of these Twitter posts that you have, and they're up to date, up to the minute, and always accurate.
They can follow me on Twitter at Damon Sayles, and that's at DamonSayles. And feel free to follow, and let's have some fun with it.
And they can also see you on ESPNU on Thursday evenings, correct?
Thursdays, that's right.
All right, brother. Appreciate you. Next week, we'll continue the college football discussion from the Big 12 and beyond. Can't thank you enough for your time and insight. And, man, you have really nailed it over the years. And look forward to seeing you in person soon as well.
Sounds good, my man. And before I go, I got one last request for you, one final request. So as we all know, that ALS Ice Bucket Challenge is going around.
You going to hit me too, man?
I'm officially challenging you to the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge right here. Right now. Well, not right now, but right here.
Well,
right here. And we're going to make that happen, man.
We are. And here's the crazy thing. One of my schoolmates, she challenged me yesterday, so I have until early afternoon there. So I'm going to do a 2-for-1 for Christy and for you, Damon. No,
there it is.
No, well, does one get both of them as well as they're in 24 hours? We're going to have to take a vote on that. We'll have to see what people say and they call in. I'm going to do it before 3 p.m. Central. You got it, my friend, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, man. Y'all take care. Have a good Sunday.
All right. Listen, we may need y'all to weigh in. Y'all need 2 times. Come on,
2
man.
buckets.
No. Goodness gracious. Stay with this. Stefania Bell when we come back right here on Laying Down the Law.